This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up, back with another one. So today, I'm going to show you this clip of Jay Williams responding to Warren Sapp. Check this clip out.
Antonio Brown files Chapter 11 and the internet turns him into a meme. United Airlines files Chapter 11 and Wall Street calls it restructuring. Same law, different lens. In our community, bankruptcy is treated like failure. But in business, it's a strategy. It's how billion-dollar corporations reset the board, shed debt, and protect their assets while they regroup. The problem is, we weren't taught to see it that way, were we? We see bankruptcy as the end of the story instead of a chapter in the playbook. So when somebody in the culture files, they're broke. When a Fortune 500 files, it's smart. Now let's be real. For Antonio Brown, some of this may be about mismanagement, but the bigger point is this. Tools don't change based on who's holding them. The law doesn't say Chapter 11 only works for CEOs in suits. It says if you know how to use it, it can buy you time, protection, and leverage. So here's the shift. We have to stop thinking bankruptcy is an obituary. It's a mechanism, a lever, a legal reset button that the wealthiest people and corporations use without shame. But to use it right, you need structure. LLCs that separate the assets, operating agreements that define liability, advisors who know how to restructure instead of just react, and a mindset that says survival isn't shameful. Survival is the strategy itself, because wealth isn't about never failing. It's about knowing how to reset when you do. So the next time you see Chapter 11 in a headline, don't just laugh at it. Ask yourself, how would I use the same tool if it was me? Because the wealthy don't see bankruptcy as the end. They see it as the insurance policy that keeps their empire alive. And if we want to play at that high level, we need to stop treating survival strategies like they're failures. So last week I was at InvestFest, and the theme everybody kept talking about was generational wealth. So here's my first take, no pun intended. Wealth is temporary. Legacy is generational. And legacy in America has always worn another name. Always. Nepotism. So call it what you want. Privilege, access, advantage. But in this country, it's actually the American dream. The Rockefellers had it. The Kennedys had it. The Waltons, they still have it. Power passed down like property. Competency, optional. Your last name became your access code. And if you think about our history and you want to peel back the layers here, our ancestors once sat on thrones as kings and queens. We carried empires in our blood. But here on this soil, those legacies were stripped, reduced to names in a property ledger. So when we talk about inheritance today, it's not just privilege. It's reclamation. It's building back the legacies that were erased from our roots. People love to criticize it, and it's so easy to hate on it until it's their kid. Because nepotism is just another word for continuity, another word for ownership that didn't die with you. You see, for them, nepotism survives incompetence. A Rockefeller doesn't need to reinvent oil. A Walton doesn't have to rebuild Walmart. The system protects their name, whether they produce or not. But for us, for first generational wealth, nepotism has to come with competency, high output, high production. Because if our kids can't deliver, the empire doesn't just stumble, it collapses. Our dynasties don't get grace, they get erased. Take Bomani James. That young man is deserving. He's put in the time. He's put the work in. He's earned the shot, and he's stepping into the league on merit. But the moment his name hit the draft boards, the media, and sadly, even parts of our community, they rush to call it nepotism. They hated on it fiercely. That's not favoritism. That's opportunity. That's what it looks like when a father builds so much equity in the game, it pays dividends for his son. What his son does with that dividend, squander it or reinvest it, that's on him. But the access itself, that's the American dream. That's what every family should be fighting to create. And on the other side, you've got young men like Shiloh Sanders, working fiercely, grinding, facing doors that don't open. And the reality is nepotism doesn't guarantee resilience. That has to be earned. What it does guarantee, though, is infrastructure, a foundation that lets you pivot. So one setback isn't the end of the story. And yet, this is the split. When entrenched dynasties pass the baton, it gets celebrated. When we pass it, it gets questioned. Legacy gets applauded there and interrogated here. We just don't hand it down. We have to defend it while we do it. So don't waste energy complaining about nepotism. Engineer it. But understand, in our community, it has to be built on excellence, because nepotism will always be worth passing down. But the real difference between it compounding or collapsing is whether the next generation knows how to carry it. Remember, nepotism isn't the enemy. For us, it's the test. And after everything that was stripped from our culture, it's imperative we all get our 40 acres.
Let me just jump in real quick. This is honestly hard to watch. Warren Sapp making fun of someone's real-life accident feels so unnecessary. Jay's career ended because of that moment, and for someone to turn that into a joke just doesn't sit right. But what I respect most is how Jay handled it. Let's watch the rest of this.
Big brother Warren, I've known you since I've been 22 years old. So let me start this off with giving you gratitude. Not because I felt cut by your words, but because they cracked open a space for me to frankly speak my truth. You see, the problem is we've been programmed to believe progress means putting each other down. That for me to stand tall, someone else has to shrink. But that's the illusion of scarcity thinking. And the honest truth, we're both climbing the same mountain, just from different sides. I know Warren Sapp. I know the fire. I know the energy. I know the will. He's lived battles, and I've lived mine. And when I look at him, I don't see an enemy. I see a reflection. Different scars, same struggle. So here's mine. I've been putting in the hours since I was 21 years old. Not on the court, but in boardrooms, in negotiations, and in the business trenches where mistakes are expensive and lessons are brutal. I lived the weight of decisions that just don't cost dollars. They cost direction, relationships, futures. I didn't squander millions. I didn't vanish into bankruptcy, but I did misstep. I did bleed. And I learned just how ruthless money can be when you don't know the architecture it moves through. I've had so many scars in my life, but this is what's forged me. That's why I can't stop doing this work. That's why you hear the passion in my voice when I speak. It's real. Look in my eyes. Because our culture has been the energy source for trillion-dollar empires. Sports, music, media, gaming, they've all pulled from us. We give the rhythm. We give the language. We give the spectacle. And when the curtain finally drops, too many of us are left empty-handed, carrying memories instead of equity. So that's my why. That's why I'm here. Not to laugh at Antonio Brown, not to lecture Bud Crawford, but to break the silence about the real rules, about ownership, about legacy, about what happens when we stop being commodities and start being custodians. If we don't change the blueprint now, the loop just keeps spinning. And I refuse to watch the same movie over and over again. So Big Brother Warren, thank you, man. Your words gave me the mirror I needed to put this into the light. Because the moment we're standing in right now, this second, where sports collides with finance, where culture collides with capital, this isn't just entertainment anymore. It's infrastructure. It's the foundation of tomorrow's dynasties for us. And when you hear me speak on wealth, on structure, on equity, don't confuse it with ego. Don't reduce it to theory. It's lived experience. It's survival turned into system. Yes, I crashed my motorcycle. Yes, my NBA career ended too soon. And yes, I lost more than I ever thought I could, only to claw my ass back with sharper eyes and heavier resolve. But understand this. I'm done with our people being the product. I'm done with applause being the only payment. It's time we become the architects, the owners, the builders. And every scar I wear, that's not a weakness. That's my credential. That's my why.
What's up? So what are my thoughts about this? Here's the thing. There's a fine line between sports talk and personal shots, and what Warren Sapp did here definitely crossed it. Jay Williams went through a life-changing moment. His NBA career ended before it ever really got started, all because of a tragic motorcycle accident. That's not something to clown or joke about. What makes it even worse is that Jay has never played the victim. Instead, he took one of the hardest chapters of his life and turned it into a new beginning. He became one of the most respected voices in sports media, offering sharp analysis, staying professional, and showing growth both personally and publicly. The fact that someone could take that and try to reduce his journey to a punchline says more about them than it ever could about Jay. What this clip shows is that, even when people try to tear you down, how you carry yourself matters. Jay didn't come back with insults, he responded with clarity and calm, and that speaks volumes. We all make mistakes in life, but mocking someone for a painful moment that already changed their path, that's foul. Period. And honestly, it just shows how far Jay Williams has come, not just as a journalist, but as a man. Okay, so drop a comment, smash that like button, and make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next video.